Oh, very good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Sanket Charka from Sinhagad Institutes, Pune, Savitribai Phule, Pune University. We have started with the fourth chapter of the legal aspect of business, and yesterday we have seen what the introduction of Companies Act 1956. With respect to Companies Act of 1956, what does a company mean? Company mean an incorporated under the Companies Act 1956 or any previous company law that is into existence. So here, any firm, any organization, any company which has been registered under the Companies Act 1956, which comes into existence, which is incorporated under this particular law, it's called as a company, and it is under the either the act which has been passed in the year 1956 or any of the previous law which was into existence. So before the independence era, the British law was into existence, and if you are registered under the British law also or the Indian law also, then accordingly the same authorization or same applicability maintains with respect to your organization or your company. So it differs from person to person, it differs from the definition, but the word means the same. In a legal perspective, you call it as a company. In organization, that is OB perspective, you call it as an organization. From the law perspective, that is from the, for example, economics perspective, you call it as a firm, and so on. A company is nothing but the group of persons who have come together for some common purpose and who have incorporated themselves into a legal entity in the form of company for that purpose, or who have contributed money or money's worth. So this is the further description of company, which specifically mentions, that is we have seen yesterday, that is a group of persons. So here company cannot be started by one single individual, but if it is started by one single individual, then it will be called as a sole proprietorship. But in order to be very effective, certain groups of people has to come together. So when several number of persons are coming together and they are starting their business with a common purpose, and what is the common purpose of these particular people? Initially, traditionally, the purpose of the companies was for the profit maximization, but now we are looking for the concept of wealth maximization. So here in this case, with a common purpose and who have incorporated themselves into a legal entity. So what does the legal entity mean? That you go to the proper authority, you go to respective concern, either the state government and the central government, and you get yourself registered. So whenever you get yourself registered, you get a certain identity wherein a particular name, identification, tag, registration number, everything is being provided, and you are being identified as a legal organization. That is, you get a proper certificate. So जैसे आपका birth certificate होता है, in the same fashion, the government issues your company as a birth certificate, and that particular birth certificate is called a certificate of incorporation. So here in this case, the legal existence comes into picture, and accordingly the company is formed. So legal entity in the form of company for that purpose. So whatever purpose that you are maintaining or that you are specifying for. So your purpose for the organization may be either wealth maximization or profit maximization and so on. So there are different types of people who are maintaining different types of objectives. So whenever we say that a particular company is being formed, what do? We simultaneously design the vision, mission, quality policy, objectives, short-term goals and long-term goals. So these particular things that has been designed, which has been framed for an organization, are called as the purpose of the business. Now, in my previous lectures, what I have done, I have shared you an assignment with respect to the balance sheet. So when you have received the balance sheet of a particular company, what you have seen, whenever you initially skip through the 4 to 5 pages, and then you will find the vision of the company, mission of the company, objectives of the company, short-term goals, long-term goals, and so on, or the purpose of the board of directors, authorities, responsibilities, and so on. So these all the things that has been mentioned in with respect to vision, mission, quality policy, long-term goals and short-term goals are the specifically purpose of a company for which what they have done, they have contributed money or money's worth. Now, how you can contribute to the organization? A particular person can contribute to organization either in form of actual money, that is a liquid form of cash which is available with you, or in form of money's worth. So for example, if I don't have money, if I have land, then accordingly I can donate land to a company. If I am having certain furnitures, fixtures, machinery, chemicals, articles, utensils, and so on, so I can contribute in the form of these particular consideration also. Now here contribution must be either money or in the terms of valuation of money. Now, for example, the business decision that was been decided as per the group of persons who have come together. Now the first line, what does it specifically mention? Is it okay now? Quite big. I have increased the size of screen. Can you see? Earlier it was small. Hello? Can someone respond? This is
Yes, sir.
comfortable.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So for a company is a group of people. Now group of people, for example, we have to start an organization and we have to start one business. Now a particular business which has been started by Mr. Sanket, Mr. Pratik and Ms. Samruddhi. So we three people are coming together and we are starting the business. When these three people are coming together and starting a business, what we have decided that everyone will contribute 50,000 for starting this business. Now take a situation, we are starting a company and who are the group of people? The group of people are three, that is Mr. Sanket, Mr. Pratik and Ms. Samruddhi. So we three people are coming together and we are starting a business, and what we have decided amongst ourselves that this particular business will be for manufacturing of certain goods or certain chemicals, whatever may be. For example, manufacturing of laptop. Now we have come together, we have to start manufacturing of a laptop. We have established our own company and the business process has been undertaken. Now when you want to start this business, what do? Well, you have to initially invest a certain amount of capital. Now this particular capital, when you invest, what you have decided that everyone will contribute 1 lakh rupee in cash, or 1 lakh of money everyone has to contribute. Now, what happened? Mr. Pratik, the money was available with him. Pratik has contributed 1 lakh rupees. Samruddhi, her father was having the business. Her father has supported into that particular business, and accordingly, she was able to contribute 1 lakh of rupees. Now, what happened at my stage? Now, Mr. Sanket, what he can do? He's not having any amount of money available with me. I don't have any cash. So what did I laid a certain condition? I went off to Mr. Pratik and Miss Samruddhi and I said them कि भैया लोग या मैडम अभी तो मेरे पास पैसा नहीं है. I cannot offer you a certain amount of money with you. But what I can do is I have a land on my own name. So I can contribute the land of that particular consideration. So what the land costing rupees 1 lakh I have contributed, and accordingly the equal proportion of amount is been given to these people. So what does it mean? Who have incorporate for some common purpose. Now, what is our common purpose? The common purpose of all the three people is to start manufacturing of a laptop, and accordingly we have incorporated. So we call the three together, go to the business organization, we go to the register of companies, that is either which is available at the state government and the central government. We take the proper permission of the government, and accordingly we register our capital. Now, what was the capital that was being formed? Now, you have to contribute something. So what was that contribution? Contribution in terms of money. So contribution in terms of money, Mr. Pratik has given 1 lakh, Ms. Samruddhi has given 1 lakh, and Mr. Sanket is not giving 1 lakh rupees, but he is giving money's worth. Money's worth in the sense a land costing rupees 1 lakh was been given. Now after over a period of time, what happened? We have identified a particular friend, that is Mr. Vivek. Now again, Mr. Vivek gives a call to Mr. Pratik and says that I also want to join your business. Now here in this case, what is the consideration? Now again, if he wants to join a particular business, there is a certain condition laid by all three of us. That is Mr. Pratik, Ms. Samruddhi and Mr. Sanket says that if Mr. Vivek also wants to join his business, he also wants to become the partner, he has to contribute 1 lakh rupees. Now here in this case, again, same situation as Mr. Sanket is having, Mr. Vivek is also not having any amount of money with him. So here what Mr. Vivek does, he says that I have a certain amount of machinery with me, and accordingly I can contribute a machinery for the manufacturing purpose. So here in this case, now the company becomes balanced. So how the company is balanced? So here you can see group of people. What are the number of persons in the organization? There are 4 people. 2 people are contributing in terms of money, which is actual liquid cash, and 2 people are contributing in terms of money's worth. So now the total capital of the company becomes 4 lakh. So in this way, the company comes into existence. So what do? We again go back to the register of companies, we register our business, and accordingly a certificate of incorporation is given for us. Now what is the certificate of incorporation? Certificate of incorporation specifically means as an individual or as a human beings, whenever he takes a birth as a natural human being, he gets the birth certificate from the government, which is the Tahsildar, Sarpanch or the Talati Karyalaya and so on. In the same fashion or in the same way, the district at the every district level, there is a office of the registrar, which is office of the Companies Act, which is also called as Registrar of Companies, which is ROC. Registrar of Companies. So here in this case, you have to go to the Registrar of Companies, you have to get yourself company registered, and accordingly your legal identity comes into existence. Now what was the legal identity? For example, the name of the business that we have to give for. So for example, we have togetherly decided, and the name of the business was given as Miss Samruddhi Enterprises. So here in this case, accordingly, we have given a certain name to the organization, and this particular company has come into existence. So that is the consideration of legal entity which were being incorporated, which had come into existence, and the business got registered. Whenever the business got registered, for example, after a point of time, if several members want to contribute to the organization, that is if the business is growing and they also want to participate, or they want to also active participate in the business organization, So we get a call from Ms. Shilpa stating that I have 2 lakhs of rupees. Please, I want to also contribute to your business. Now what happened? The proportion is changing. Now just identify a situation. What happened? The group of people, earlier there were only 4 people and everyone was contributing in equal fashion. That is, everyone was contributing 1 lakh rupees. So our percentage becomes 20% for all 4 people. Now Ms. Shilpa comes forward and she says, okay, I'm ready to contribute 2 lakhs of rupees. Now here what happened? The proportion of one partner keeps on increasing. Now what will be our ratio? The ratio of Shilpa will be 2 and our ratio will be 1:1:1. So here in this case, the total capital will become 6 lakhs and the number of participants will be 5 lakhs. And accordingly, the proportion of capital will be 2:1:1:1. Another, our business was going very fluently, and accordingly, another Mr. Who is the Mr. Gopal. Mr. Gopal comes forward and he says, okay, I have 5 lakhs of rupees and I want to invest into your business. So accordingly, the number of participants can come forward and accordingly they can start investing in your business. Now this was the example wherein extra amount is being contributed. Another person we have Mr. Kunal and he says that I have some raw material available with me. I have certain goods, services, articles, and by contributing or by donating these particular articles, I want to join your organization. So here in this case also, Mr. Kunal gives certain goods, certain commodities, certain articles, and based on this consideration also he can join our business. There is another person called as Miss Sapna, and accordingly she says that I also want to join your firm, but I don't have any money with me. What can I do? She is very expert. She is very skilled lady, and accordingly, her talent is very outstanding. So here in this case, what she is contributing in terms of her knowledge, in terms of her skill, in terms of her attitude, and in terms of her business contacts, which is available with her. So in this case, you can either contribute your money also, or either you can contribute your money's worth also. So this is the definition, this is the meaning in which a company can come into existence. So here a group of persons coming together for a common purpose. So that particular common purpose, how do you identify? You identify this common purpose based on the consideration of either your vision, mission, quality policy, short-term goals, long-term goals, and so on. Incorporated, you get a certain certificate from the government, which is called as a certificate of incorporation. And unless and until you get a certificate of incorporation, you cannot start your business activity. So once you get that particular certificate, you get registered, your name gets registered, and accordingly you get a proper registration number from the government authorities. And you form a company for that purpose. So you have to specifically mention for what purpose or for what motive your business has been started, and you start contributing. Now this particular contribution can be either in form of cash or non-cash also. Any difficulty at this stage in understanding the meaning of company? Yes, anyone?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll move ahead. Now going towards the next slide. Have we taken this slide earlier? Can you recall?
Yes, sir.
All the points? Just quickly go through the points. Incorporated association, separate legal entity, limited liability, perpetual succession, separate property, transferability of shares, common seal, capacity to sue and being sued, and lastly the separate management. If anyone wants any repetition or explanation to be given again, please let me know quickly so that we'll cover that point, and otherwise we'll move ahead. Features of company. Anyone out of you?
Yes, sir. Repeat in short.
All the points.
No.
Sir, can you repeat the perpetual
Last
succession?
second. Last second.
Who was speaking? Fast, quick. Don't waste the time. I want to
Sir,
end up by
can you
3:50.
Sir, can you repeat the perpetual succession part?
Yeah, sure. Perpetual succession, where is it? Red color. Okay. Perpetual succession means, now here in this case what happened? I'll continue the earlier example. Initially we have started the business with Mr. Sanket, Mr. Pratik, and Ms. Samruddhi. Later on in this business, Ms. Shilpa, Ms. Sapna, and Mr. Vivek, and all these people have joined the organization. Now over a period of time, who were the initial partners in the organization? Who were the initial registered members? Initial registered members are Mr. Sanket, Mr. Pratik, and Ms. Samruddhi. Later on, you 3 or you 4 people have joined the particular organization. Now, over a period of time, if the business has been continued for either 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, what happened? That is, in the year 2025, Mr. Sanket dies. In the year 2030, Mr. Pratik dies. And in the year 2050, Ms. Samruddhi dies. Now here in this case, whenever we call a certain consideration that the initial members or the registered member of the company dies, the company does not come to an end. Why? Because there are additional members who are always ready to take carry forward of the business organization. Now here, when in the year 2025, Mr. Sanket has died, Mr. Pratik or Ms. Samruddhi was into existence, and they have continued the business. When Mr. Pratik dies in 2030, Ms. Samruddhi was taking the business further. When Ms. Samruddhi died in 2050, Vivek, Gopal, Shilpa, Sapna, and so on, the rest of the people, they are coming forward and they are continuing the business. So here in this case, as we have the family tradition, that is, when your forefathers was there into existence, your grandfather came for further and he's continued the business or the family tradition. When your grandfather expired, your father came into existence and accordingly he continued the family tradition. When your father will expire, sorry to say, but in the further course of time, what we will do, you will come forward and accordingly you will continue the business. In the further course, when you will die, your children will come forward and accordingly the family tradition or the business continues or keeps on going. So in the same way, as our family continues, in the same fashion, the perpetual succession means the company does not stop at any point of time. The succession is always into existence and the company keeps on growing. The first initial starting of the company, that is Tata Motors or the Tata firm, the Honorable Mr. J.R.D. Tata started this particular firm. Then later on we have Mr. Ratan Tata into existence. When Ratan Tata retired, Cyrus Mistry came into existence. When Cyrus Mistry was incapable of conducting the business activity, again the charge was being handed over to Mr. Ratan Tata, and now again we have a new successor. So what do? We have identified that हर किसी का एक वारिस होता है. So here in this case, as we have the family waris or family tradition, wherein every family member is continuing the business activity. So in the same case, the company is also having the warasdar, and the board of directors, the chairman, the managing directors, the participants of the top level management are always continuing the business activity. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Any other?
Sir, transferability of shares.
Transferability of shares. Now, जब आपके दादाजी थे, sort of in transferability of shares, when the property was available with your grandfather and your grandfather was having, for example, 3 children. So what your grandfather did, he has divided the property into all those 3 children, and accordingly it was been transferred. One person having one property, it got divided into 3 persons. Now your father has got a certain property. Your father is having 2 children. What your father is doing, he is again dividing or distributing the property in 2 children. So in this way, now for example, you into existence, you are having a certain property with your children. What you will be doing, you will be again distributing this property with among your children. So in this way, transferability of shares. Whatever property that you are owning, you can transfer it freely to any of the person whichever you are feeling for. Now this particular person can be within the organization or outside the organization also. That is, if you feel that, for example, you have purchased the shares of Reliance Industries today. You have purchased the share of Reliance, but for example, tomorrow you feel that I don't want to keep these shares with me and you want to sell it back to the company. So you can sell this share company back to the Reliance Industries, or you can sell this particular shares back to the any other trader or any other purchaser or any other buyer who is available into the market. So the shares are freely transferable from one person to another person, and there is no restriction as to transferability. Whatever may be the number, whether the number of shares is 1, 5, 10, 1,000, 10,000, 10 lakhs, whatever number of shares that you are holding for. Limited liability, the liability of company is always limited to the extent of your contributing capital. So liability concern only it comes into existence only when the company is going for the winding up of a particular business. So if the company wants to wind up, if the company wants to close down business, then the liability, that is the amount that is to be paid off to the respective suppliers, to respective vendors to whom you are liable to pay. So what will be the extent of liability? You will be only liable for a certain sum of money only to the proportion of capital. So if I have contributed 1 lakh rupees, my liability will be 1 lakh. If Shilpa has contributed 2 lakhs of rupees, her liability will be 2 lakh. If Ms. Samruddhi has contributed 1 lakh, her liability will be 1 lakh. If Mr. Vivek or Mr. Soham has not contributed anything, that is, they have not contributed in terms of money, their liability will be 0. Another we have Mr. Dada, he came forward and he contributed in terms of furniture. So what he can do, he can take back his furniture back to his home and accordingly the liability can be closed. Clear for everyone? All the salient features of company.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, today at the home you can just read the theoretical perspective, so it will be more understandable for you. A new diagram. So Aarti, for you, this is one type of diagram. This is the second type of diagram I have prepared for you. So salient features of company, the same points have been covered for your examination drawing purpose.
Nice diagrams.
Yes, thank you. Moving further, now the different types of classification. So as we have seen classification of contracts, in the same fashion you have classification of companies also. So classification of companies have been classified on the basis of incorporation, on the basis of liability, on the basis of number of members, on the basis of control, and lastly on the basis of ownership. On the basis of incorporation, they have been further divided into three types: chartered company, statutory company, and registered company. On the basis of liability, limited liability, unlimited, and guarantee. On the basis of members, that is private limited and public limited company. On the basis of control, holding company and subsidiary company. And lastly, on the basis of ownership, government company and non-government company. Out of this, I am very sure you must have heard only two companies, that is a private limited company and public limited company. So these are the also different types of organizations or different types of firms which are into existence, and they have different types into existence. Now we'll move or we'll look into each and every one. Again, Aarti, a different diagram for you. This is the one type of diagram, and again another different types of diagram. Types of companies: public company, private company, producer, deemed public, limited, unlimited, section 25, holding, subsidiary, government, and foreign. So we can draw different types of diagrams also. Now, major differentiation between a public limited company and a private limited company. So further you have the explanation of all the types. So minimum paid up capital. So now in my example, what we have seen, the amount of capital that was been available for a particular people contribution was at the discretion. That is, I contributed 1 lakh, Shilpa contributed 2 lakhs. Who was there? What were the names? Pratik contributed 1 lakh, Samruddhi contributed 1 lakh, Vivek 1 lakh, and so on. So in this way, everyone was contributing as per their capacity, as per their need, as per their availability of money. But in case of if you want to register your company as a public limited company or a private limited company, then the minimum paid up capital requirement is 5 lakh rupees for a public limited and 1 lakh rupees for a private limited company. Minimum number of members: when you want to register a particular company, at least one member is required, but minimum numbers for a particular registration for a public limited company is 7, and for a private limited company it is 2. So at least 2 members must be there, and then only a private limited company can come into existence, and at least 7 members must be there, then only a public limited company can come into existence. Maximum number of members: so maximum number of members are the, for example, there is no restriction for a public limited company. A public limited company can have unlimited number of members also, and a private limited company must have maximum of 50 members. Above 50 they are not allowed. Now how do you identify? Now just I have shared you the different types of balance sheet. Now the balance sheet that I have shared, it is for both the organization. That is, there are few public limited companies also, and there are few private limited companies also. So just go back and check what are the number of members. So here you will identify that in case of private limited companies, the members are below 50 only. So above 50 it is not allowed or it is not permitted. Transferability of shares: so no restriction. So in a case of a public limited company, the shares are freely transferable. That is, you can transfer the shares to any of the person. Now Bharat, that is HPCL, BPCL, Indian Oil, Petroleum, and so on. So it's just mini Ratna companies or Navratna companies which are completely owned by the state government. Now if you purchase a share of railways, that is Indian Railways or Shipping Corporation of India and so on, or Indian Oil. So these particular organizations, these are the public limited companies, and if you purchase the shares, and they are also freely transferable. That is, with the proper procedure, with the proper application, the shares are freely transferable. There is no restriction which has been provided by the government for transfer from one person to another person. In case of transferability of shares with respect to a private limited company, it may be complete restriction with respect to articles of association. So only if the articles of association are giving a certain permission, then only the shares are transferable. Otherwise, the shares are not transferable in case of private limited company. So what is articles of association? We'll deal with a point later, because you have a detailed explanation with respect to AOA. Now there are two concepts at this particular stage. The first is MOA, that is Memorandum of Association, and second is AOA, which stands for Article of Association. So we'll deal with what is MOA and AOA later. Issue of prospectus, free to invite. So a public limited company is having a freedom with respect to inviting the general public for the amount of money that they have to raise for. So a public limited company can go to the general public, they can give a certain advertisement, and accordingly lot many number of money can be raised from the general public. And lastly, next thing, private limited company, they have a certain restriction. They cannot go to the general public and raise the amount in terms of an IPO, that is open public offer, which has been provided. That is initial public offering. Number of directors, at least 3 directors must be, full-time directors must be there in case of public limited company, and in case of private limited company, maximum or minimum of 2 full-time directors are required. Consent of directors, yes, the public limited company must file a register. So whatever document that you are making, whatever decision that you are taking, a proper consent of all the directors. So here, which means that is, if the director, minimum 3 requirement and maximum there can be around 10, 15, 20, whatever you keep a certain number. So maximum amount of directors, that is at least a consent of directors must be filed with the registrar. And unless and until the registrar, the directors does not give the approval or the consent, your proposal will not be accepted. But in case of private limited company, there is no consent of directors. It is not required. Just by a mere resolution which has been passed in the board meeting, you can take the decisions and it can be filed with the government authorities. Qualification shares, sign an undertaking to acquire the qualification shares. So if you want to acquire a qualification shares, then what you have to do, you have to take into consideration that a proper qualification share has to be applied for. You have to take the permission from the registrar, you have to take the permission from the managing director and the chairman, and you have to make a proper application to ROC. What is ROC? What is ROC?
Register of companies.
Registrar of companies. So a proper undertaking has to be always signed with the registrar of companies, and only when the registrar of companies give you a certain permission, then the qualification shares can be issued, and accordingly the permission can be granted. Directors need not sign an undertaking. So here, if you want to issue qualification shares to the different people, the directors need not sign a certain undertaking, and accordingly by the mere approval by or with the perspectives of the chairman or the managing director, the qualification shares can be issued. Commencement of business. Now here, the public limited company cannot commence or cannot start the business immediately. Why? Because they have to avail or they have to take 2 certificates. What are those 2 certificates? First certificate that a public limited company has to take is certificate of incorporation and certificate of commencement of business. But in case of a private limited company, the private limited company has to take only 1 certificate. And what is that 1 certificate? The first certificate is certificate of incorporation. So COA certificate, sorry, COI. So there are 2 certificates. Public limited company has to take 2 certificates and private limited company has to take only 1 certificate. Share warrant can issue share warrant against its fully paid up shares. It's so both the companies, that is either the private limited company or the public limited company, both the parties can issue the share warrant which has been applicable. So in conversion of your fully paid up shares. So if the shares are only fully paid up, then only the share certificates can be getting converted into the share warrant. Further issue of shares to new or to its existing shareholders. So both the firm, that is either the public limited company or the private limited company, they can issue the shares to the existing members also or to the new members also. So there is no limitation as to whom the shares can be given. Statutory meeting must call its first meeting and file report to the registrar, that is ROC. So it is mandatory for a public limited company to file to conduct a first meeting, and that particular first meeting is called as a statutory meeting, and the report of the statutory meeting must be filed with the ROC. But in case of a private limited company, there is no obligation. The registrar of the private limited company can either conduct the first meeting, that is statutory meeting, or they cannot conduct also. There is a certain time limit, that is within the duration of 3 to 6 months, the first statutory meeting of all the board of directors has to be undertaken, and the proper report signed by the managing director, signed by the chairman, and signed by all the directors must be submitted to the ROC, that is Register of Companies. Whereas in case of a private limited company, they need not sign any document. Just by the mere resolution that has been passed, they can conduct the meeting also, they cannot conduct the meeting also, and the report also is not mandatory. But what is the concern with respect to a private limited company? Whenever the financial year ends, now what is the financial year? The year starting from 1st of April and ending on 31st March of the next year. So before ending of the financial year of the current year, what you have to do? You have to conduct a meeting which is called as an annual general meeting, that is AGM, and the report of AGM must be filed with the ROC, that is Register of Companies. But in case of a public limited company, what do they have to do? They have to conduct the statutory meeting also, and then they have to conduct the AGM also. So both the meeting has to be conducted. Both the meetings has to be signed by the chairman, managing director, all the board of directors, and a report must be filed to the register of both the meeting. But in case of private limited company, only one report has to be filed, and that one report is of annual general meeting, which has been conducted after the commencement of business. That is after your first business starts, and accordingly your first year is into existence. Okay, any difficulty at this stage with respect to public limited company or private limited company? If you have any difficulty, you can please unmute yourself and ask me the questions. Quickly, hurry up. Go through these slides. Minimum paid up capital, minimum number of members, maximum number of members, transferability of shares, issue of prospectus, number of directors, consent of directors, qualification shares, commencement of business, share warrants, further issue of shares, and lastly the statutory meeting. Okay, chalo. Thank you everyone for joining. Good day. We are concluding the lecture.